through 2 games.
Portland State won the toss, and they'll kick off. Johnny Ross is back there at the goal line, but I would doubt they're going to kick the ball to him. He's touched it once on a kickoff this year, and he went 92 yards for a touchdown. Marcus Kinsella, the Aussie, to put it in play. And he goes to the short guy. Fair catch made at the 25-yard line. And that is where Washington will start out. We'll take a look at our difference makers presented by Nissan.
Well, Chico McClatcher, I think he's going to get the rock all day long. We talked so much about John Ross as we did in the Open for obvious reasons, so electric. But this young man has the same type of speed. And, of course, Myles Gaskin. UW today, specifically with the elements, as Cindy mentioned, a little windy. It's kind of rolling around. They've never even practiced in a wind like this throughout this season. I think they're going to try to run the football early and often to get Gaskin going.
Jake Browning, the sophomore from Folsom, California, making his 15th start in 16 games since he got here. They go to Gaskin on the first carry. If you're checking boxes for Washington today, obviously win the football game, but I think the second box, you got to show you can run the football. Everyone knows you're fast at the wide receiver spot, great guys in the slot, and you have a quarterback who can sling it. You got to show you can run it.
Well, I'll tell you what, when you watch film in the first 2 games where you look at Rutgers and then Idaho, the one chink in the armor on offense is the offensive line, and they know that. They want to make sure they can work this offensive line through. They got a couple players that are rotating, still trying to figure out the right guard spot.
Browning takes a short drop, throws right across the middle. Chico McClatcher had a touchdown catch in each game so far, gets his first touch.
Well, when you put number 6 in the slot, Chico McClatcher, I mean, he's got world-class speed. This isn't just a 10-8 guy in the 100. This is a 10-4, 10-3 guy in the 100, and he's going up against linebackers. He's just a better athlete than. So they're going to move him around all day long, and big advantage for UW.
6 catches already. That's 7 now for Chico, nearing 150 yards. And they give it to him on the ground this time. Finds a seam off the right side, first down, and across midfield.
Such natural speed. This is a guy who played as a true freshman last year. You see a nice little pull up front by that offensive line, trying to get after. That's Coleman Shelton. He's really the anchor at center. All too often, we don't see a ton of centers pulling in this conference. He's an athletic center. He's played all across the offensive line.
McClatcher, another talented sophomore from the Northwest Federal Way down near SeaTac Airport. Washington's opening drive of the game, number 8 team in the country, 2 easy wins to start the season. Delayed handoff, go back to McClatcher, check it, it's Gaskin, deep out of the backfield, short gain.
You know, a lot of people talking about UW and their lack of run game, right? Only averaging 3.6 yards per carry. Well, these 2 games early on, it was a blowout against Rutgers, blowout last weekend. You don't really get your full offense in. So I think that they'll be able to run the ball. This is a big part of their offense. I want to try to get them involved early.
Gaskin, 1,300 yards last year as a freshman. A freshman record. He also had 14 touchdowns. Browning now checking off. He's done this a couple of times in the first 2 weeks, changing plays at the line of scrimmage. Seems to have a great command, disciplined, and mature. McClatcher got a chance to score. Chico McClatcher on the first drive.
Take a look here. It's simple man-to-man coverage, right? And you're going to get the slant, you're going to get an arrow. It's going to cross up the defenders. Great job by John Ross just setting this thing up. It's a rub, it's not a pick, and all of a sudden, wide open, Chico McClatcher to the house.
Just needed 1 downfield block. Extra point by Jonathan Gonzalez. He's now 11 for 11. 7-0 Washington. McClatcher taking a catch and carry to the house.
Welcome back. And at the quarterback position, we always talk about mastery. Take a look at Jake Browning right here. Audible, sees its man-to-man coverage, changes the play, moves the back, resets the protection, understands that John Ross, Chico McClatcher, man-to-man on the backside. That's big advantage for UW against anybody in the country. It's an easy slant arrow concept. touchdown, get it to 6. It's over when those two are being covered man-to-man. Great recognition by their quarterback.
Scoring drive presented by Cooper Tires. 5 plays, 75 yards. It only took him 2 minutes and change. I think that's what Chris Peterson wanted out of that opening drive. They scored pretty easily, and his quarterback looked sharp. Looked like he has command of the game plan coming in. Up man, loose ball, recovered by the Huskies at the 26-yard line.
Simple miscommunication on kickoff return. You just can't do that. You're taught when you're in kickoff return to never retreat if you're in that middle area. You got to stand your ground. If the ball's to you, you need to fair catch it. Poor job by Portland State. That's uncharacteristic. They're usually a well-coached team under Bruce Barnum, but great awareness by Levon Coleman, the backup running back. And I'll tell you what you see on special teams when you turn on the film, Bruce Barnum clearly frustrated, is you see UW, their starters are on kickoff team. They got Keyshawn Bieria. They got Buda Baker. It sets the tempo, raises the level of everybody. Another big play on special teams for the 3rd consecutive week for the Dogs.
Pedersen Fuller to the right of Jake Browning. See how quickly they can turn this turnover into points. They scored in just a little over 2 minutes. First time they touched the ball. Empty backfield for Browning. Fakes right, comes back left. Wanted to go to John Ross, but the pressure was there quickly.
Now, there's one element of Jake Browning's game when you study him. They had screens at the top and the bottom. It's not necessarily this play, but it's making sure that you take the easy things. Take what's there for you. Be fun to watch that throughout this afternoon, because this is one of those games where you can try to almost overthink, all right, I'm really going to gash this defense, versus, let me just go through my progression, get the ball out.
Browning demanding that snap. Fakes to the up man, tries to go to McClatcher, and well defensed. That's Artez Manning again. He's the guy who brought pressure on the last play in the face of Browning. This time on that slant, got his left hand across.
In Portland State decided to play a little nickel defense versus all the athletes of Washington. Manning, he's their 3rd corner usually.
Two to the top, two to the bottom. Browning again. Better coverage. Here comes Manning again. And he's going to air one out. Ross. And that's a flag. Held up. Ross tried to come back for it. Had no chance. Anthony Jenkins on the coverage. Never turned his head.
Pass interference. Defense number 28. 15-yard penalty. Automatic first down.
Well, they're basically passing off the coverage here. And John Ross, he's going to run by anybody. I get it. Jenkins and pseudo man-to-man coverage. They play what's known as cover 4, meaning everybody has a 4th of the field. Manning, that's his 4th of the field. And I'll tell you what, if you're out there and you see the wheels of number 1, you're kind of already a little nervous. He got turned around, committed the pass interference.
Coleman, the guy who recovered the fumble on the punt in the backfield. Stays in to help out. Browning coming back to the left side. 2 drives, 2 touchdown passes. Darrell Daniels, the tight end.
Okay, Buda Baker, he makes his offensive debut right there, and all of a sudden we're going to get a delay by the tight end coming across the field. Nice job by Buda Baker. The defense is going to flow to him, fast flow to find number 32, the best athlete on the field. They come backside to Mr. Daniels. Impressive call by Chris Peterson and offensive coordinator Jonathan Smith.
Cameron Van Winkle makes his 2nd PAT. He's 16 for 16. They're number 8. Best start in 15 years. Darrell Daniels, a senior from Pittsburgh, California, with the touchdown. It didn't take long. His 1st of the year, their 2nd of the day. Only took 22 seconds, 26 yards, 11 yards from Browning, who has now thrown 10 touchdowns on the season.
Tell you what was so amazing about that is afterwards, Sidney Brunson just told us after that touchdown, Daniels goes and shakes every offensive lineman's hand, says thank you, thank you, thank you. And that's really the embodiment of this team. Hey, a smart move, but usually receivers do that. You know, he's a former wideout, so he probably thinks he still is one. But again, it just shows the continuity within this program.
Tristan Vizcaino, junior from Chino Hills. Kickoff, the second time in 5 minutes. Last time he went to a short man, there was a fumble. This time they go a little bit deeper. Nate Tongo takes it back just across the 20-yard line. Let's take a look at our defense difference makers presented by Nissan.
Well, it's Azim Victor and Keyshawn Bierria. I mean, those two literally every Sunday when I get home from games, I just watch them for fun. Just keep an eye on these two. And they're going to be challenged today. I know it's Portland State, and they're up 14-0 already, but they run this pistol offense, and it puts a lot of pressure on those two inside linebackers. They came in together. They're roommates. They're best of friends. And I think the two most explosive linebackers who are a duo in the entire country.
So it's already 14-0, and this is the first time we've got to see Alex Caressa, talented senior quarterback for Portland State. They talk about him being slippery. He's going to keep it himself. He could rush for 100 yards today, but the first time he takes a snap, he hands it off. Caressa starting his 15th game in a row. He's got 9 touchdowns since he's been the starter. And you can see the rushing 152 yards. This is a guy who will keep it. This is a guy who can handle contact.
It's another transfer. You know, we talked about Chris Cisse, Cindy in the open. He's got transfer from BYU. He's married. He's got a kid. I mean, he's a mature man, and he can make plays with his legs. He'll bust one throughout the afternoon.
From BYU, he went to Snow Junior College and then finds his way to Portland State. Deep handoff. Tongo again. Out near the 30-yard line.
This defense as a whole, I mean, there is no weakness. You look up front and who they are on the inside. Look at the secondary and Sidney Jones. They're long, they're lean, they're experienced. What I love is how they communicate. Watch on third down, how they're always talking to one another.
Sidney Jones making his 26th consecutive start. Third downs have been tough this year for Portland State. And to keep it himself, Caressa, first down. Drives across the 35. To say Portland State has to answer here, Yogi, they were coming in. They were up against it already. They said they had to play clean. They had a turnover. They haven't stopped Washington at all. They got to put some on the board here early.
Yeah, and they're going to try to slow this game down. I mean, things couldn't have gone worse for them. Number one, Chico McClatchy just dominated the first drive. Then you fumbled the kickoff. It's a touchdown a few plays later. So it couldn't have gone as bad. Now they got to run the ball, and you see them just continue to milk the play clock. That's part of the game plan here.
Like to welcome that audience just joining us. Watched Oregon State handle Idaho State in Corvallis. Jim Watson, Yogi Roth, Cindy Brunson at Husky Stadium. And the Dogs ranked number 8 in the country, their highest ranking since 2001, have scored on the first 2 drives of the game. Chico McClatcher, 43 yards from Browning, made it 7-0 after a turnover. Terrell Daniels, the tight end, a catch and carry for 11 yards and a score. Portland State, a nightmare start. An early turnover. They can't stop Washington and just picked up their first down. 2nd and 1 from just across the 45. And now they got a little something going on. 2 in a row. Maximo Spitha, the tight end. He's their leading receiver.
They run a little stun on the inside. Saul Mawuchi, you'll see him right there. Boom, right on. Caressa stands in the pocket, moves the chains. He's a tough quarterback. He'll take the shot. He'll deliver the blow. He's become more accurate. It's really the big thing he went to work on this offseason is his footwork when pressure's coming.
Everybody talks about how Caressa is carrying the football, but he's thrown for over 2,300 yards in his career. You got to balance it. And with this defense coming, remember 7 sacks already for Washington in 2 games. Stood up right away. Paris Penn. Area, first guy there.
You know, our key players to watch are the 2 linebackers. You can see Salmon right at the bottom of your screen. Great hands, great placement, make the play. But that defensive line, we don't give them enough credit. We're talking about Vita Vea, 6'5", 332. Greg Gaines, Elijah Qualls, they're just rocks in there. They just take up so much space, Jim, that allows those linebackers to use their instincts and explosiveness.
13th tackle on the year for the area. That's second best on the squad. Across midfield for the first time, 2nd and 10. Caressa coming back to the left side and deflected as he tried to go late across the middle. Ends up Mathis. Mathis has had 5 tackles in each of the first 2 games.
It's an impressive job of Portland State protecting, but look at the D lineman. Late, get your hands up. That's what you always say, okay, can't get to the quarterback, but can still affect the throw, especially against Caressa. He's only 6 feet tall, and that D-line is tall, large, and athletic as JoJo Mathis has a nice wingspan you just saw.
Yeah, good thing JoJo got his hands up because Espethia was wide open downfield. Would have been inside the 40 for Portland State. Now it's 3rd down. Caressa, pressure coming. Straight arms a guy, now gonna run. Got the first down on a great cutback move. Chris Peterson talked about him on our call this week. He said he's elusive, he's strong, and he's not going down easily.
Well, Portland State offensive coordinator Steve Cooper knows what he has in number 7 in Caressa. So you see him spreading it out right now. You know, it's not as though they're trying to run that pistol. They only did the first snap on offense that they had all game long. Since then, they've spread it out, allowed their quarterback to try to see a clean and a clear picture. Don't muddy it up because you know you don't have the athletes to protect against the athletic and strong defense.
Portland State got a little something going on. Now Paris Penn stands in there in the Wildcat. The quarterback was a wide receiver. Here's Penn. He's a running back, so he knows what to do with it on the direct snap. And a pretty good gain. Azim Victor with the stop for Washington, but Portland State mounting a pretty impressive drive.
Paris Penn's, he's a Pac-12 caliber athlete, no doubt. I mean, he's a guy who came in as a quarterback, played early, trying to find his spot. Now he's playing the back. They'll get touches throughout the rest of this game.
Local Portland guy, Grant High School, and he was a quarterback at the prep level. Now they get back into their regular pistol with Alex Caressa back behind center. He's got some company on a 2nd and 6. Nate Tongo right at the middle between the guards, short gain. We were worried about rain. They had a 90% chance of rain in the forecast. Temperatures held. They thought it would get into the 50s, but mid-60s, that's pretty warm for this time of year. The biggest problem has been the wind, gusting up to about 20 miles an hour. It hasn't affected the Washington offense. Portland State driving right towards the lake. 6 minutes to play in the first. Penn is back with Caressa. Pressure coming. Caressa's going down. Sam Wu-Ching was not going to be denied. He got to Caressa, held on, and then dragged him down.
Keep an eye on the coverage all over the field. I mean, this secondary of UW just straight locks everybody down. There's nowhere to go. Nice little pocket. Should have stepped up in the pocket. Regardless, gets rushed, gets sacked.
Number 8, Washington came in having scored 100 points in their first 2 games, and they scored the first time they touched it. Chico McClatcher from Browning, 43 yards, capping off a 5-play, 75-yard drive. It took them just a little over 2 minutes, and then the ensuing kickoff. Portland State said they had to play clean. That's not a good start. Coleman with the recovery, and right away, 3 plays. Darrell Daniels, the tight end, for 11 yards and a touchdown, and then Portland State trying to answer back. Pretty good drive, but it stalls out near midfield on the 12th play on a sack. Washington takes over on the 20-yard line. McClatcher was already taking a handoff today, gets to the sideline, and he needed 1 step to go. Boy, the speed of this team, and we haven't even seen Dante Bettis. You know, all these guys, John Ross, McClatcher, Pettis, all these guys are just smoky fast.
Well, you got to love how they're calling this game. I mean, that's a wildcat formation. Gaskins in the backfield, and all of a sudden you're going to put McClatcher in motion. I mean, him, those 2 and John Ross, it's hard to defend or do anything unique on defense.
Deep handoff and a short gain. A couple of yards for Gaskin. You know, Gaskin came in at about 125 yards in the 2 games. It was the one aspect that doesn't jump off the page. All the receivers have caught and scored. Browning looks great. He came in with, 8 touchdowns, a single interception. But I think the running game is what Peterson wants to walk out of here today. Maybe rushing 200 yards is a pretty good target number.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, keep in mind, here's a play right here. This is probably an RPO, a run-pass option. And Jake Browning, he leans to the pass more often than the run because how he sees the field.
And he does here again, steps around pressure. Now gets it back up to his shoulder and throws late over the middle and overthrows Dante Bettis.
So this is a great example of you can hand it off or you can pass it. It's an RPO, run-pass option. You give the fake, and if you like your matchup, as Jake Browning did, if you're going to give him single coverage with his ability and the speed on the outside, I'm throwing it every time too. So I think there's an element of that, of why we haven't seen this run game be what some people would have expected after last season.
Well, if you're trying to defense this Washington offense, you know Gaskin can carry it. You know Browning can throw it. But then you got Ross, McClatcher, Pettis. We've already seen Darrell Daniels score a touchdown, the tight end. And the protection's been solid. Drew Sample, his first catch, that's a first down across midfield. Took a hit and held on.
This is awesome. Watch Jake Browning, watch his eyes, watch him process everything. Okay, you want to chunk information at the quarterback position. 1, 2, 3, comes back to 4. Are you kidding me? I mean, that's a simple completion across the middle on a basic cross, but that is gradual level work from this quarterback in terms of how clearly he's seeing a defense and getting through his progression.
Browning's been enjoying a lot of time. Great coverage so far. Lamont Coleman is the deep guy. Gets the handoff quickly through and inside the 40-yard line. How good has Browning been? Remember, he's only a sophomore. He started all but 1 game last year, but there's a real dichotomy between the wins and the losses, and I guess that makes sense.
Yeah, no doubt, and they didn't have the weapons last year. Chico McClatcher was a freshman just trying to figure it out. John Ross wasn't on the field.
He was
injured. They had Jadon
Yeah.
Mickens, who they lost, but they didn't have anybody who was going to necessarily scare defenses, so they'd stack the box, and they're playing a lot of young guys on the offensive line. I mean, one of the youngest teams in the entire country a year ago, even this year as well.
Gaskin in the backfield with Browning. You got Ross and McClatcher at the top. It is Gaskin. Gaskin first down.
But I think it's important to recognize the youth. I mean, last year, it's 74 freshmen and sophomores, only 14 seniors. This year, they got 69 freshmen and sophomores, and only 13 seniors. So you look at those numbers and you say, wow, this team's already a top 10 team in the country? I mean, they're just kind of getting going, and they might be a year early, at least from expectations of people around the country. This team, they're legit.
Yeah, because all those freshmen and sophomores got time last year. They come in as experienced players, but they're still not top heavy. You saw the senior class still pretty small, same as last year.
But you know what I love about that is that the young players take on a great leadership role. Jake Browning, remember, he was a mid-year guy last year. His work ethic set the tempo. It's why he won the job. Obviously, he's gifted as well. You look at all those players, whether it's Azim Victor, Keyshawn Bierre, they learn from all those players that you talk about who left for the draft. You know, you look at even the guys on the offensive line. Coleman Shelton, moving all over the place. Jake Eldenkamp, he's played all over. He's the senior. Trey Adams played a lot of football.
And look at right here, the sophomore making sure everybody's in the right position. And if you watch the drive, you'll see this, that they all talk about Browning. He knows this offense, and he'll get up in your ear hole and tell you you're in the wrong spot. Gaskin bounces off one guy, wrapped up by the second at the 30-yard line. You know, look, last year for Browning, it had to be tough. You're a freshman. It's your first year on campus. To talk to upperclassmen and tell them they're doing something wrong, maybe there was some hesitation. Not this year.
No, not at all. And you just got to win with your work ethic. And that's kind of how that trio has been. We had a chance to talk to Trey Adams, left tackle, about what it's like to be with Myles Gaskin and Jake Browning, kind of that trio of true freshmen. So, you know, it's kind of cool. We have this unique bond, and we know that we've got to make sure daily we set the tempo, and we get in the weight room, in the classroom, in the film room, and on the field.
Gaskin's off to a good start. That's the way he finished last year, going over 100 in his last 4. That's Aaron Fuller. Catch gets around the first guy and spilled out of bounds. And again, Washington on a pretty good drive.
Like this true freshman, Aaron Fuller, going to try to get him the rock. And for Portland State, they're missing Walter Santiago. He was a captain. He was a senior, injured the first play of the game last week against San Jose State as safety. He's in position to make that play if he's playing right now for Portland State.
Been a tough year for the Portland State defense. Last week their offense coughed it up 6 times as they got run at San Jose State, but this defense has not forced a turnover yet this year. Gaskin steps inside the 15 and ends the first quarter at the 13-yard line. Nice opening frame for the number 8 team in the country. Jake Browning now 10 touchdown throws and just a single interception in 2+ games.
Portland State hand, but great call.
First real test here for Browning, 3rd and 6. Has Dotson next to him. Going to the opposite side. McClatcher, his 2nd touchdown of the game.
Well, we talked about it from the beginning. A little hitch up, later, spin move. Thought it was basketball, huh? Look at that, pretty impressive. Chico McClatcher, great athleticism, great focus. I love the hand placement when he catches it, shoots his hand above his eyes, touchdown. He shows everybody the rock.
First option for Browning, went right for it. Cameron Van Winkle on again for the PAT. Hasn't missed one this year. He's going to be a busy guy. This team scores. They came in averaging better than 50 points a game. Just getting started. One play in the second quarter. It's 21-0.